Or let's say, what year did our Prophet ﷺ get nubuwwat? Anyone know this? How old was he? He was 40 years old, good. How long did he stay in Makkah after this? Anyone know how many years? Anyone? 13 years, thank you, 13 years in Makkah. And then in Medina, how long was he in Medina for? 10. Alright, that's how many years? Right, got 23 years. 23 years is the whole life of our Prophet ﷺ. 23 years. The whole Quran was revealed in 23 years. Bit by bit, over 23 years, everything was there. You study the Seerah, you're studying only 23 years. This is what we study. Some may have the before Seerah, what had happened, but the Seerah in Islam is 23 years. Alright, after that, so what year did he pass away? For example, when a person looks in Makkah, he has 13 years, he's making da'wah, there's public, there's private, there's torture, there's everything going on. When he goes to Medina, he gets help. What happens after that? In the second year, he has a massive battle. What's the battle called? Battle of Badr. In the third year, what happens? Which battle? Battle of Uhud. Fifth year, what happens? What battle? Battle of Trenches. Sixth year, we have the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. Eighth year, what happens? What happens in the 8th year? Conquest of Makkah. They conquer the whole of Makkah. 10,000 men conquers the whole of Makkah. Remember this. In Makkah in itself, before they went to Medina, there was what? 100 people, 150 people, 200 people maybe. How did that raise? The 13 years, they only had a few hundred people. Muslims accepted. As soon as he went to Medina, it increased. It increased. 313 in Badr, 1,000 in Uhud, a bit more in Ahzab, and the Battle of the Trenches. How many in the conquest of Makkah? Anyone know how much conquered Makkah? How many Muslims? Around 10,000. Now you got 10,000. From 1,500 people, you got 10,000 now. He's conquering the whole of Makkah. And Makkah is important. If you look at the landscape of the whole of Arabia, you find Makkah is right in the center. It's your capital city. Everything runs through Makkah. So when you go through Makkah, and you got the trade, you got business, and then also you got the idols. So that city over there, and then you got the idols, and you're crushing the idols now. You're in charge. You got control. This is how it worked for conquest of Makkah. So now they're in charge. Now the Muslims are in charge. When he goes for the Hajj, anyone know when the Hajj was? What year was the Hajj? Not 13? Anyone know? 10th. Thank you. Someone said 10th. 10th year of Hijri. How much Hajj did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam do throughout his whole lifetime? Only one. First and last Hajj, 10th year. When he was giving a speech on Arafah, how many people were in front of him? More than 100,000. How much? More than 100,000. So conquest of Makkah, he had 10,000. A couple of years before, he had 10,000. Now you got hundreds. More than 100,000 people just when he conquered Makkah. When he passed away, there was about 150,000 Muslims. 23 years of hard work, of effort, and now there's more than 100,000 Muslims. What happens? Who becomes the Khalifa after this? Abu Bakr. How long was he in charge?
2 years.
2 years, good. For 2 years. Who became in charge after that? Umar radiallahu anhu. How long was he in charge?
12 years.
Around 10, let's say around 10 years, right? Around 10 years. So that's so far how much years altogether? 12 years. Who became in charge after that? Uthman radiallahu anhu. Uthman. How long was he in charge?
4 years.
Anyone? 5, not 5? 12 years. You got 12 years. Someone said 12 as well. 12 years. So you got 12 years, and you got 12 and 12, 24 years. And now who becomes in charge after this? Ali radiallahu anhu. How many years was he in charge for?
6 years. 6
years. When someone said 6 years. So you got 4 khulafa. How long were they in charge for total?
30 years.
30 years. They got 30 years. Remember this, at the beginning when Rasulullah passed away, he had around 100,000, approximately 100,000. After 30 years, you know how much Muslims there were? How much Muslims there were?
2 billion.
More than a million. It was in the millions. Now you're getting the millions. 30 years of effort, 30 years of effort, you got millions of Muslims. 30 years of effort. Some people are not 30 years old yet, some people are. But 30 years of effort, you got that many Muslims. Imagine what you had to do to try and get so many people into Islam. The effort that they made. Abu Bakr radiallahu didn't change much. When he was in charge, he said, I want to keep everything the same, I don't want to change anything. Umar radiallahu ta'ala goes, no, let's expand, let's get out more. He sent out people to Persia, conquered Persia. Who was the one? Who was the famous? Khalid bin Walid radiallahu anhu. Who was the one in Syria?
Sufyan.
Anyone? Who's in charge of the Syrian conquest? He's part of the 10.
Talha.
Abu Ubaidah. Abu Ubaidah, Amir al-Jarrah radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He was part of the 10. He was a very fierce warrior, very tall. And what happened is, if you see his face, he had no front two teeth. He's got no front two teeth. Anyone know how he got, know how to get his teeth taken out? What was it? Yeah, I told you, isn't it? Anyone know? He was the person in the time of Uhud when Rasulullah got attacked, and he got attacked and his chainmail went out of his face. He ripped it out from his own teeth. He took it out from the face of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he lost one. He took it out, another piece, he took it out, so he lost his front two teeth for the sake of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he didn't have a front two teeth. He was one of the most fearsome warriors, and he was part of the conquest of Syria. This is the conquest of Sham, Syria, Lebanon, and then eventually Palestine. And when he came to Palestine, Umar was in charge. He wasn't the one that going to take the keys, but they called Umar all the way from Medina, and then he went out and he got the keys and they took over Palestine from that time. So those were the 13th, 15th year Hijri, 17th year Hijri. So now you've got all of these 30 years, and now you have Umar radiallahu anhu conquering Persia, smashing it to pieces. You got Sham all over. Now they're conquering the whole area. Now they've not just got one country, now they've got a whole land, Arabian land, all underneath them. So you've got the conquest of Persia, conquest of Sham, conquest of the whole of Syria, and then you go on to Mesopotamia, a bit further on as well, Iraq and Iran and so forth. So you got conquest after conquest after conquest. You got people like the likes of Ka'ka bin Amr, who, you got the people who are, some of them had bare-chested, coming out with long knives and going and fighting in the path of Allah. These are the people which we call our heroes. These are the people we should be learning about. As youngsters, we always have heroes. As youngsters, we always look up to people. As youngsters, we always see about a certain person's life and we want to know all the information. But yeah, how many information do we have about the Sahaba, about the Tabi'een, about those people that conquered the world? I've only mentioned 30 years. Uthman radiallahu ta'ala, when he was in charge, he looked after the whole place. He didn't go too much further. He stayed in Arabia, he looked after the whole place. Egypt was conquered as well. They took over Egypt and Alexandria. They took over Alexandria, very famous cities. They went out a bit further and they went North Africa and they took over this. Now, as you see 30 years in Ali radiallahu anhu, and there was a bit of a conflict between the Sahaba. After 30 years, what happened? Who came in charge? Anyone know after this? Who was the group that was in charge? 30 years after, Khulafa, put them to one side. Who's in charge next? Good, what dynasty is that? Umayyad. You have the Umayyad dynasty. From the year 40 to the year 120. How many years is that? 80, around 80 years of Umayyad. Uthman was also of Umayyad. So you got 80 years of Umayyad. What did they do? They looked after the Muslim Ummah. They went and some of them were good, some of them were bad. This is how it was, right? Some of them were good, some of them were bad. Do you know when you see in Masjid al-Aqsa, you see the Dome of the Rock, right? Yeah, so the likes of Marwan bin Hakam, Abdul Malik bin Marwan, they're the one that designed it. They're the one that built it, they're the one that designed it. So you have 80 years of Umayyad rule. After the Umayyads, who came in charge? Anyone know? Abbasids, year 120. Year 120. 120, the Abbasids came in charge. The Abbasids were in charge. How did they get in charge? Obviously, they didn't like the Umayyads, Muslim against Muslim, they didn't like them. And they said, no, you're not ruling properly, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, we're going to take over. They took over. And what happened is, You know, you have like the kings and the princes and the princesses and all of those things. Umayyads had all of these as well. So you find about one person. This one person, now listen to this, he was a youngster. This is the year 120 approximately. He was a youngster, he was a person that his whole family got murdered. Meaning the royal family of the Umayyads got murdered. Abbasids came in, they killed the father, the mother, they killed the auntie, the uncle, they killed all the cousins and siblings and brothers. And one person, two people escaped. Who escaped? Two people escaped. Brother and brother. Older brother and younger brother. Older brother and younger brother. So the older brother and the younger brother are now escaping the assassins of the Abbasids. So you have the assassins wanting to kill these people. He was 18 years old, 16 years old, and his brother was about 13 years old. What happened? They were escaping the assassins, and they were going to swim across a certain river. While they're swimming across a certain river, he sees his brother behind him, and he's swimming, and he's swimming, and he's swimming, trying to get to the other side. When he wants to get to the other side, his older brother got to the other side. He turned around, he doesn't see his brother. His little brother is 13 years old, he doesn't see him. So what happens? His brother goes, look, I can't make it. He goes all the way back to those people that are going to kill him, the assassins. They go all the way back there. This little boy, 13 years old, he said, look, if you forgive me, I'm sorry. Don't help, show me mercy. So while on the other side of the river, imagine your little brother is 13 years old, and the assassins got him. What happened? They chopped off his head. 13-year-old boy. So imagine him as a 16-year-old. 16-year-old seeing his old brother die. His whole family died. His name was Abdul Rahman the First. His name was Abdul Rahman the First. He was such a person. Abdul Rahman the First was such a person now. He's 16. Till the age of 18, he was running away from the assassin of the Abbasids. He went all the way down to Philistine, got some help from some people that he knew, got all the way down to Egypt, got some help from some people he knew, and months after months they are trying to attack him, they're trying to assassinate him, they're trying to kill him. He goes through the whole of North Africa, through Sudan, through Libya, and he makes it all the way through Tunisia, and he's escaping the kings, he's escaping the Abbasids, he's escaping the assassins, and then eventually comes into Algeria. And he's got, his family is from Algeria, he's got an Algerian mother, his tribe is from Algeria and so forth. He gets fined. Yes, Algerians, who's Jazair? You've got Algerians, yes. So Al-Jazairi, mashallah. These people, they helped him out. They helped him out. They were the one that helped out Abdul Rahman. Abdul Rahman is very famous in Al-Jazair as well. He's the one that helped him out, go on army. And then at that time, in the army, they walked, so they traveled through Morocco, and they went up through, where did they go to next? Spain. They went into Spain. And everyone knows who conquered Spain, right? What was his name? Tariq bin Ziyad. Good, Tariq bin Ziyad. Now on the way, when you go from Morocco to Spain, on the way there's a small little island. Anyone know what it's called? What's it called? Gibraltar. Anyone know the actual, where did Gibraltar come from? What's the name? Huh? Jabal Tariq. Good. Gibraltar is Jabal Tariq. Jabal means mountain, Tariq is Tariq bin Ziyad. Tariq bin Ziyad. What is his famous story? This is 30 years earlier, in the year 91, where he goes and he gets his band of men, and then he travels from on top of Morocco, he gets his boats, crosses the sea, gets to Gibraltar, Jabal Tariq, stays there for a while, and then he makes a plan to go and conquer Spain. He goes all the way, he gets onto the shores of Spain. What does he do next? Anyone know? He burns his own ships. He goes, look. What does he do? He burns his own ships. What does that mean? We die or we conquer this place. If we conquer this place, we ain't going back. Meaning we're going to win or we're going to die. That was his mentality. Anyone know how old Tariq bin Ziyad was when he conquered it? 25. Huh? He was a teenager. He was a teenager, 18, 19, 17, 18, 19. So Tariq bin Ziyad was also from where? Jazairi, Maghribi, Jazairi. These are the people, these are our role models. These are the people that should be aspiring to be towards. These are the people that we should have in our hearts, learning about their lives. They showed courage. They showed had Iman. They had them strong in their Islam. They weren't on being distracted by this man and that man, no. So these are very important people. Tariq bin Ziyad was the one that gets it. So Abdul Rahman comes 30 years later. Abdul Rahman comes 30 years later, he's conquering, going past Algeria, gets his men, goes to Maghrib, goes to Morocco, crosses the sea, goes into the whole of southern Spain. He takes over the whole of southern Spain, now he's in charge of Spain. Umayyah, he's from the Umayyad dynasty. Abbasis are taking over the whole of Arabia, they go to North Africa, they take over the whole of North Africa. They try to go into Spain, Abdul Rahman goes, no, you're not coming here. No, you're not coming here. This is my area, this is Umayyad dynasty. From the year 120, they were there for 600-700 years, Umayyad dynasty. While the rest was Abbasids, Umayyads, Abdul Rahman I was there at the beginning, and then went on, and he stayed there for 600-700 years. And that is a whole topic in itself, the whole of Spain and the dynasty of Spain. And we'll cover that inshallah another time. But there you find this. That was on the western side of the Islamic Empire. Anyone know what happened 2 years earlier in the 1890 of Hijri on the eastern side? He said Jazairi brothers on the western side. Who's on the eastern side? Eastern. Who's eastern? Eastern side of Asia, of Arabia. Asia, a bit further. Japan, a bit too far.
Mongolia.
Turkey, no, a bit south. Where's the Pakistan? They've got Pakistan, yeah? Pakistanis here, man. Look, Pakistanis. So basically, in 1890 of Hijrah, you find one person going there. There's a bit of trouble in the Sindh area. We call it the Sindh area, which is now Pakistan. Sindh area, there's some trouble going on. Muslims are getting killed. So Asjad bin Yusuf goes, look, nephew, come here, go and sort out this mess in area of Sindh, which is now Pakistan. And now what happened? One of them from that tribe goes and he conquers that area, and there's a small little Muslim. And this is Islam going into Asia now. In the 1890 of Hijrah, it's Islam coming into Asia and ruling in Asia. 89th year of Hijri. 89th year is Umayyad. He was from a certain tribe. This tribe was called the Thaqif tribe. Thaqif tribe was when the story of Taif. Everyone knows the story of Taif, right? So in Taif, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Mecca, like, where can I go for help? Mecca, they're destroying me, they're torturing me, I need to look for somewhere else. He goes, gives da'wah to Taif people, three main leaders of Taif, amongst them was the Thaqif. After that he got pelted, he got stoned, blood coming from him. At the end of his journey, he says, and the angel comes in, shall I destroy this whole Taif? He goes, no. The dua he made, he goes, imagine, or I hope that somebody from this tribe comes out and becomes a Muslim. What happens? A few years later, they're conquering Asia. A few years later, they're conquering Asia. Islam goes and spreads into Asia, into the Pakistan, Indian continent and the whole area. So you have the western side, which is the North Africa, Spain. Eastern side, where you have now the Asian continent. Now Islam is spreading all over. So 120 years, Islam is spreading everywhere around. That's later on. So all of that happened. So now you got 120 years. Abbasis came along and they spread Islam a bit more. And then you have they were 500 years. And then eventually you've got a few different people coming in and out. Salahuddin Ayyubi comes in. And then you have the Seljuks come in. And after the Seljuks have come the main guys for the last 700 years. Who was in charge? Ottomans. Who's the Ottomans? Rastani. Good. Ottoman Empire came on for the last 700-800 years were the Ottomans. So now you have the whole of Islam. Whole of Islam, 1400 years. You have the Khulafa Rashidun for the first 30 years. And then after that you have Umayyads, you have the Abbasis, and there's others as well on the along the way. And then you have the Ottomans going. You have Islam. In those, you have so much different leaders and so much people who are youngsters who are ruling these areas. And then they leave behind Prince of Islam. I'll give you some which I mentioned to my students, where I mentioned regarding how did they leave Islam and how do you know Islam was there. So I mentioned a few points which you can try and guess, inshallah. So while they're going to Spain, there's a country next to Spain. What's the country which is right next to Spain? Portugal. Portugal, right? Portugal. And in Portugal, they were known for a certain fruit. What was this certain fruit? What was it? Good, correct. So orange. So orange in Arabic is called Burtuqali. Orange in Arabic is called Portugal. This is where you get the name of Portugal. This is where you get the name of Portugal. So you have the exact same. This is where they left it behind. If you go back down, all the way down south of Africa, you go all the way down, you find a country called Mozambique. You find a country called Mozambique. Anyone been Mozambique? Anyone here? Mozambique? No? Mozambique? Mozambique? No, Mozambique. Anyone know? A bit Mozambique, yeah. Alright, anyone know? Okay, Mozambique. Anyone know what's Mozambique named after? So this person's name, his name was Musa bin Biq. Musa bin Biq. And Musa bin Biq, they went and made it Mozambique. You find off the coast of Africa, there's a small little island. What's the island called? Madagascar. Everyone seen the film, yeah? So Madagascar, anyone know where the origin of Madagascar came from? Oh, Arabs. Huh? No. What's the name? How did the name come about? Madagascar. Anyone know how it came about? What's the name? Why did someone call it Madagascar? So you have example. Anyone know what Medina means? Medina means city. Asghar means small city. Madinatul Asghar. And then it became Madagascar. Okay? Madagascar. This is how they left behind. Lots of Arabs, lots of the language of the Quran is left all around the whole world. Is left all around the whole world. You find different places and different things, and there's much more. I'm only mentioning a few here. But there's much more where you find the Sahaba, their graves are in China. The graves are in China. All the way reached there along the Silk Road. They went and they got China and then they built. And now you find masjids. You know you have the Chinese houses like this, yeah? You find masjids that are built like this. The masjids that are built like this. You find so much different things. They left imprints behind. Most of these guys, most of these people, they were youngsters. They were 18, 19, 20. Youngsters. They went out. They fought in the path of Allah. They done it for deen. There's sincerity inside of their hearts. They had role models. They had people they were working under. And they went out and they conquered a lot. With the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't know who here might be the next Salahuddin al-Ayyubi. We don't know who's going to be the next Tariq bin Ziyad. We don't know who's going to be the next Muhammad bin Qasim. We don't know who these people are. But here, there could be somebody. But what's happening nowadays is that all of us youngsters tend to be involved in something different. They like to spend their time not praying on the musalla. They don't make their du'as for the ummah, but they're rather on the phone watching. This is where I wanted to come to, and I was 18 plus, but there's like too many youngsters there. But yeah, you understand what I'm saying, what they're involved in. You know how much people come up to me and they said to me that we started watching these things online, 18 plus things, when they were 8, 9 years old. They started when they were 8, 9 years old and they can't stop. And that led to other things. That led to other things. You know what I'm talking about, isn't it? He's laughing in the back, he knows. Yeah? So, you understand, this is how it works. But they start when they're younger. Be very careful. This is what we're involved in. We get distracted upon distraction upon distraction. We get distracted by everything, we become weaker. Now, how are we going to be the next person that's going to stand up in the face of injustice? How are we going to be the next person that stands up and makes something worthy of this world? How can we be the next person? We talk about, everyone looks up to Steve Jobs. You have the guy in Microsoft, you have the guy in Tesla, everybody is this. When's our next Muslim guy going to do this? When's the next Muslim person that's going to be there and everyone aspires to be him? This is what we want. But we're being distracted. We're being distracted by the phone, we're being distracted by all of these things which is going to come and take us away from deen. What are we doing? That's why I always say that if you want to be somebody, learn from the people of the past. Learn your history of Islam. Learn regarding tarikh. Learn those people that were heroes. You have Abdul Qadir al-Jazairi. You have those people who are Sudanese. You have the Lion of the Desert. Who was the Lion of the Desert? Huh? Umar Mukhtar, good. These are the people that you've got to learn about. They defended Islam, they defended the Muslims. Those are the people that we remember today. Who's going to remember us in 100 years? How do you become famous? Money, nah. These people weren't rich. These people weren't rich. Salahuddin al-Ayyubi wasn't rich. You find the Jazairi wasn't, Abdul Qadir wasn't rich. Yeah, these people weren't rich. They were preaching, yes. Da'wah, yes. They never ever missed their salat, I'll tell you that. Huh? Yeah, the actions. They were courageous people. They weren't hiding behind screens. Keyboard warriors. Now we only got keyboard warriors. I ain't got no more warriors, we got keyboard warriors. So this is how it's going to be, this is how it happens. That's why it's very important to realize what's our role. It was mentioned earlier before. We've got to become somebody. And if we're going to be distracted by every single thing, is rampaging through our youth today, is what they watch online. It's very detrimental to a person's iman. It's very detrimental to a person's health, physical health, his mental health, his spiritual health. All of these is affecting it. When you watch those things online which you're not supposed to watch, yeah? When you're watching those things, when it looks enticing, when it looks like, you know what, I can't take my eyes off it, and then it leads to other kind of sins, and a person gets into bad habits, and then what happens? He gets into more, and now he can't take his eyes off it. Now he feels depressed, now he feels weak, now he feels like I can't do anything else, but I just need it more, and I need it more, and I need it more. And now he stops doing and going out with his friends. Now he's in his bed a lot. Now he's in his own room. Now he locks the door. Now he's in the toilet for longer and longer. Now he's on his phone the whole time. Why is that happening? Why? Because he's addicted. He's addicted to these things. He can't take his eyes off these things. Now they say go and get married. Now what happens? His wife's going to complain about him. Say, what's this? Now his wife's going to complain about him. Go and get married, go and do this, go and do that. No, I can't. I can't have children. Now what's going to happen? Now he feels embarrassed. Now he goes into depression. Now he goes in. Look what it leads to. Now you find, where's the men then? Where's the men that we need to go and stand up and defend Islam? Where's those men? Because it starts when you're young. It starts when you're at this age. It starts because why? Because they're feeding you everything. Through the phone they're feeding you. They're feeding you spiritually, as in a bad way. They're feeding you something which is junk. They're feeding you everything which will distract you from Allah. They will distract you from doing the good thing. They will distract you from everything which is good. You're supposed to do the salah in the Fajr time. You're on your phone for hours and hours. And as soon as Fajr hits, you go to sleep. As soon as the Fajr hits, you go to sleep. So what's that about? You find those people who conquered land after land after land. They will go to sleep. What, they used to go to sleep and miss Fajr? Never. Never did they used to do this. They used to be having everything on time, sleeping on time, waking up on time. They used to have the tahajjud. They used to have the help of Allah. Us. What's happening to us? Who are we? What's happening to me? What can I do? I can't do anything because I'm weak. I can't even stand up to my own teachers. I can't stand up to my own people are causing me, the injustice that we see nowadays. My own politicians, I can't even say nothing to them. My own bosses at work, I can't say anything. If I do something, I say I'm a coward. I'm not saying don't do something stupid, but at least have it inside of your heart. Where's our iman? Why are we the next people that are going to be ruling the world? Why are we in charge? The Ottomans ruled the world in such a way. The Muslims ruled the world in such a way where there was physical and material development, but also spiritual development at the same time. You find high levels of iman and high levels of dunya. There was the one that invented algebra. There was one that invented the algorithms that you're getting stuck in nowadays. They was the one that invented all the things in maths. It was them. And also at the same time they had high levels of iman. Where's us? Why is it only that now we've got high levels of deen and we've got nothing on iman, or nothing on, high levels of dunya and we've got nothing on deen? Or sometimes we've got very high levels of deen, we've got nothing of dunya. Why isn't it some that has to be both high? Why are we getting high levels of dunya and high levels of deen? Why isn't our du'as being accepted? Why are we accepted for the khidmat of deen, in the service of deen? Why aren't we being leaders? Why always being sheep? And we're following. Why aren't we in charge anymore? Where's our leaders nowadays? We see the leaders nowadays, they're cowards. They're cowards. The leaders nowadays, what's happening to them? They can't speak out. They're stuck. We have to be someone now, create something different. This you guys right here, all of you, you have the ability. Allah mentions inside of the Quran, that I've chosen you. Not in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I haven't chosen you to be alive then. I've chosen you to be alive now in 2023, 2024. Yeah? I haven't chosen you to be this. I've chosen you now. I want you to be here now with the fitna, with the media, with the social media, with the phones, the facade, the bad stuff that's happening right now. I want you to be alive here. And guess what? You can be successful as well. Just like those people in the past were successful. The likes of the Sahaba were successful. The likes of Tariq bin Ziyad, the likes of Muhammad bin Qasim, the likes of Salahuddin al-Ayyubi. Those people were successful. Just like now people could also stand up and be successful. And we're seeing this in Gaza, we're seeing this in Palestine, where they're dying on Iman, they're dying where Allah is happy with them, they're dying as shaheed, where they're doing something about it. They're doing something, they're defending themselves. You find people now, they're making something, they're developing something, they're creating something which will be remembered until the end of time. Why are we leading these things? We were the leaders of math, we were the leaders of science, we were the leaders of creating different things. Everyone used to come to us. Everyone used to come to the Muslims. Now no one comes to us. Now no one's coming to us. What's happening? Where's our leaders? Where's our Muslim leaders? Youngsters will start. I need to nurture them in a certain way, but now they become the best. They become the best in their field. They become the best in whatever they do. This is what we need. This is what we need. So where are they? Our nurturing of our own youngsters is we give them the phone straight away. We give them the phone, and that's it. They're lost. Khalas. What am I supposed to do with this? Their life is the phone. Their life is now distraction. And they can't achieve what you're supposed to be made to do. Allah says, I've chosen you for this time. These are the millennials. These are the guys who are born after the year 2000. And you're born after the year 2000, you're supposed to lead the next generation and the next century to be someone who's going to be the leaders of nations, the leaders of your communities, the leaders of universities. Make your own university. We talk about media. Make your own channel. Make your own channel. Go Muslim news. Go and spread that around. Go make your own, media site, social media site. Go and spread that around. Let's go and change the narrative. Where's our very intelligent Muslim youngsters that can do this? We can make institutions. We've got 1.5 billion in the world, almost 2 billion in the world. You think we don't have enough money? You think we don't have enough money? We can do this. You put your mind to it, you can nurture your child, or those youngsters, you can become something really big and leave behind a legacy. Some people leave behind a spiritual legacy. Some people leave behind a material legacy which is beneficial. The likes of maths is very beneficial. The likes of those inventions are very beneficial, Muslim inventions. They left behind everything for us to use. We're using it nowadays. So where are these people nowadays? Why aren't we here? Why aren't we standing up? Where's our nature? Where's our nurturing of these people? Where's the tarbiyah of these people? Finance, Islamic, how much of us are now struggling to buy houses? You think our children will buy houses? How are they going to afford a way to do this? Where's our system? Where's the Islamic banking system? Why isn't something being done? We've got so much youngsters that are coming through this field. They can easily get together and do something about it. Make it easier for the people living here in the UK. You find the loaning, the loan system. You find those people are involved in soliciting lawyers. Get them involved. Try and now lobby these people. Get the people high up in governments. Try and make decisions for the Muslims, for the betterment of society. This is what we want. What are Muslims doing? Where are we? We need to do something about it. Where's our next leaders? In the last few centuries, we've got hardly any. They're standing up, defending their deen, and that's about it. We want more from this. We want more. We want something from our youngsters to come up to be the best. The best according to the dunya, will never ever lose your deen. Because those people that were successful and remembered are those who are people of the masjid. I always say this, that if a person wants to be successful according to the deen, it was a person who never ever left the masjid. Meaning, his heart was attached to the masjid. You find any kind of person that I mentioned today, they were all attached to the masjid. Every single one of them was attached to the masjid. The likes of those people conquering city after city were attached to the masjid. Khalid bin Walid was attached to the masjid. The Sahaba were attached to the masjid. They were successful. Every successful person indeed is attached to the masjid. They were attached to the masjid. How much? Where's my attachment to the masjid? Half an hour a day, yeah? Half an hour a week. Some people it's half an hour a week is the Jummah khutbah. You think we're going to become somebody? We're going to become somebody. Eventually, for the elders here, a lot of us, we come from different countries. And the rest of the youngsters generally were born here. So they come from different countries, they're saying that this country is not ours. I got back home. My country's back home. I do what I can here and I send money back home. But for the ones who are born here, they're raised here, this is their country. So what are you going to do about your country? What are you going to do about your country? How are you going to uplift this country to a level where I can live with it, and I can live in it, and I can live in it with an Islamic manner, and I can do something which is different? Where's that? Who's the ones that stand up and do this? Yeah? You will be ready. This is what we need. This is what we need. But yet, no one's standing up. You all tend to be sheep. You all tend to follow. You all tend to do this and do that. But we're not there. So this takes a lot of nurturing, it takes a lot of practice. But you have to have the mindset and you have to have the intention. Yes, I want to be someone big. Not for fame. Yeah? Not for fame. Because the people that done it, they've never done it for fame. What did they do it for? Praise who? Allah. They praise Allah. It's big for Allah's sake. They went and conquered these places for Allah's sake. And now we still remember them 1,000 years later. You remember? You remember them 1,000 years later. No one's going to remember you. No one's going to remember us. We sit down on our phones, no one's going to remember us. And become someone who's remembered for the good, not famous, meaning famous in the eyes of Allah. Don't become infamous. Don't become infamous. Abu Jahl was infamous. Abu Lahab was infamous. So the Sahaba were famous. Sahaba were famous. The Tabi'een were famous. Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim, these are the famous people. Abu Hanifa, Imam Shafi, these are famous people. Why? Because of what they done. They left legacy behind. We have no legacy. What's going to be our legacy? What's going to be our legacy? What are we going to leave behind in this dunya? We've got to be somebody in this dunya. So here, at the end of this year, coming into the new year, I want to be somebody in my field, what I'm good at. I may be good at, whether it's something physical, something to do with intellectual, something spiritual. I want to be the best in it. I say I'm going to be the best in whatever I do. You find these, motivational videos, I want to be the best, go to gym, be the best, whatever. Yeah? So you have these motivational people around you who try and push you and motivate you. And you have the right people there to try and guide you, say, look, you want to be the best? Get these people involved in your life. Get your mentors. For a person, you see, your child is very intelligent. He's got a quality. It doesn't have to be always written, yeah? He has a quality, it could be strength. He has a quality that could be something to do with his hands, as in making. He has a quality. So then use that. You've got to be wary. You say, look, I've got to use his quality. He's got something brilliant here. He can be something brilliant. And I use that for the deen, the service of deen. How do I do this? So you've got to be clever. For those who are elder, you've got to be clever and say, look, this one's got some quality. Let me take him out and give him something which is good. If you take them out, let's say, no, I'm going to focus this one needs to be. And then you focus and they become someone good. You become someone influential. You become someone who's influential. How influential can we be? Don't become a YouTuber, yeah? There's big YouTubers. Too many YouTubers, and they just, I don't know how much money they make, but the same with women. Women, they had a certain role. They had a certain role and a certain responsibility. Women. But they're still famous. You still remember some of their names. You still remember some of their names. Not just the Sahabiyat. Not just the Sahabiyat. Sahabiyat were remembered. Great. They were the wives of Rasulullah. They were the mothers, they were the family. And then so you had to find some who actually were the ones that invented, or the one who was, for example, the person that made the first university. What was her name? You know, I forgot. Fatima you can Google it now anyway. But it is in Morocco. You find she was the one. So it's not just, I mean, they have certain roles and responsibilities, but according to their qualities. They can't be the quality, which is, example, you find strength is a quality generally of a man. So you find something in wars, 99.99% is, almost 100% is men. That's how it works. Throughout history you find this. So you can't be like someone, and then you might find the odd one who is a woman, for example. Yeah? So there you find women who also have a certain role. You just got to find that role which is going to be the best. She might be the best doctor. She might be the best doctor. Yeah, so it could be, it doesn't have to be, example, some people only say it's to do with actual skill and quality. The quality doesn't have to be a certain thing that you have to give to the people. Sometimes it's your akhlaq. Sometimes it's how kind you are. Sometimes it's about what you do when you help somebody out and that person is very influential. And you, for example, this is very famous example. You find the mother of Imam Bukhari. And the mother of Imam Bukhari. The mother of Salahuddin Ayyubi. You find that sometimes they had to nurture children in a certain way that they became the person of the time. So you don't know that your own children will become somebody. The mother generally finds out quickly that this one's intelligent, this one's got this quality, this one's got that quality. The mother will find out and say, how do I nurture? And he has to do the home nurturing, the hardest part. Men can't do that. Very hard for men to stay home whole day with the kids, right? Very hard. That's it, I had it done. So then women get that role, and they do it much better than any man. Much better. They have a certain role and they do it very well. Allah's given them something inside of them. So they have their roles. Find the role which is best for them, and then they go and do it a bit further, inshallah. So this is something to do with women. So women, yes, men, you have yours, and women have theirs. But there's certain limits to men, there's certain limits to women. Just find the place where Allah says, وَاجْتَبَاكُمْ I've chosen you. You can be successful. It depends on how, in what way. It doesn't have to be famous. You don't have to be famous in the eyes of the people. No one's asking you to be famous in the eyes of the people. Be famous in the eyes of? That's it. How do I be famous in the eyes of Allah? Do things that only Allah can see and no one else can see. People see, alhamdulillah. People take benefit, great. You do it in the eyes of Allah. Anything that you do, say, I don't want nothing from these people. I don't want nothing from you. I don't want nothing from no one else. If I get it from Allah, I'm done. Class, finished. This is what I want. So when you want to become famous, and I want to do this, and I want to be known, in your wrong intentions. Sorry, don't do it. Don't do it. You want to become famous and everyone wants to know you, and remember your name. My name is this. At whatever. Yeah? Nothing. It's useless. It's worth nothing. About manthura. Scattered dust. So be someone, but be in the eyes of Allah. Fix your intention when you want to be something good. That's really important. I'm dragging on now. What's going on? Huh? Oh, I've got 6 minutes. I have to go countdown. Huh? Are we going to count down?
So, what do you want to
I can't hear you. Question? No more question. You got a question? What's the question?
Yeah, they want a pizza. So they either have It's a mosque, not a food buffet. Listen to your phone. Yeah, I know, like fucking fake, but bro.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khairah to Asjad sir for delivering his talk. Because we've got some youngsters here now, and usually, boys, you listen up inshallah. You guys might have some questions inshallah that you couldn't have asked before, especially to do with Islam and the deen, back in the religion, etc., especially in the schools, etc. If you have any questions inshallah, you can raise your hand and one will try his utmost best to answer inshallah. Anyone got any questions?
The mosque is only for open, I think, for prayers only. Yeah, I don't know. Can we make more use, like you're talking about, how to make, people are only coming for the prayers and everything. How we can best use of the mosque? Like it used to be when you're talking about Sahaba era, Prophet whatever. So how we can use, especially this mosque, we can start from one mosque.
So I think this is probably one of the mosques in London that are doing more than just salah. So this is, mashallah, what we heard about this mosque is that they open it up to, you had cricket here, you had tennis here, you had different things here, so which is, mashallah, is great. I don't know what else you had here. What table upstairs, table tennis upstairs. So for the youth, I believe this is a youth-friendly mosque. This is youth-friendly. Every mosque should be youth-friendly. They should always have a, what we call a safe place to have their time, and it should be connected to a mosque. Every mosque should have a safe place where you have maybe a place to pray which is nice and quiet, and then something which is adjacent next to it, where you have, whether it's play, whether it's chilling, whether it's relaxing, whether it's learning, whatever it is. I think everyone should have that. If it's not there, then you lose half of your congregation. And there was, he mentioned, 70% of Muslims were youngsters. You may have mentioned earlier. I mentioned the statistics, it goes 70% of the Muslims in the UK are youngsters. I didn't know that. But that's a huge stat. That's a massive statistics right there. 70% of the youth, so 70% of Muslims are youngsters. So that's mad. That's like, you need to do something about that. So what the example, if I was to ask a question, that what would you like to see in a mosque? What would you want in a mosque? Apart from the prayer, what else would you want to see in the mosque? Huh? Wrestling, right? Anything else? Good? Huh? A library. Alright, good. What else is it? A chicken shop, huh? Who said a chicken shop? Somebody wants a chicken shop next to a masjid. Very good idea. Business. Sunnah sports, archery, wrestling. 1 minute left. We're having a countdown.
Does anybody have any serious question, mashallah, Allah ta'ala, except Molana's the brother's questions? I'm going to pass over to Brother Umar, mashallah. Brother Umar is a regular to the masjid, inshallah. You've got questions.
Assalamu alaikum. My question is, a few of the sheikhs before also mentioned about gaining knowledge. how would you pick who you get knowledge from? Because like especially today, you've got like all of the internet, but then you see just say some sheikh from Pakistan will say something, then a sheikh from England will say something else about the same topic, and a sheikh from Saudi will say something else. So how do you know which one to pick? Especially when each one will be like, this hadith says something like this hadith says
Very
this.
good question. Very good question. So, I get this question a lot. So lots of people, students come up to me and say, well, this sheikh said this sheikh said that, this and that. So what happens is they're doing the right thing by asking the Imam. They're asking usually your local Imam saying, I heard this online, is this correct? Just by this sentence there, you're doing something which you're supposed to do. At least he'll tell you, he should advise you, the Imam, your local alim should advise you, your local scholar should advise you that this is because they've got filter. They can filter out what's good and what's bad, what's batil, what's haqq and so forth, and different sects and so forth, they know. So they can say, they got filter system, they come through, this is correct, this is incorrect. So they would know, just by you asking this question is what you're supposed to be doing. I think you got the mic. You got the mic.
He booked through.
Check the mic. Yeah, ask him.
So you know how you said sects, right? So how would you know whether you should be just a Hanafi or a Shafi?
That's not a sect.
Or like a madhab or a school of
So fiqh madhab is usually you're brought up in one. The family is usually one you brought up in. Generally it's like that. Because you don't have enough knowledge. You can't open up every single ayat of the Quran and every single hadith to try and bring every single nasr. You can't do that as laymen. The ulama can do this, but as one, how are you going to look through this? You can't, it's impossible. So a madhab is there just to help you out. Just look, right there, follow your madhab, you're done, everything's done for you on a plate. Why would you go through every single thing and say, I want to know this one, I want to know that one, I want to know this one? It's hard work for you guys. Just follow the madhab, you're done, you're finished. Very good question.
But then there's ikhtilaf within madhabs as well.
No, then just go with whoever's the majority. Whoever's majority is right.
But then you have like big
Brother had a question.
Assalamu alaikum. One of the sheikhs mentioned the profound hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu when the non-Muslims nations would come together and like they would invite the way they invite to a platter of food. And alhamdulillah, the Muslims are great in number. We have a lot of resources. I heard from one sheikh that natural resources like gas, oil, we Muslims own 1/3 of that. And unfortunately we're still oppressed. We're considered third-class citizens. And the sheikh mentioned to turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I just wanted you to elaborate, how do we turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How do we get Allah back on our side to assist us?
That's a great question. Lots of people ask, there's a very open and general statement. Turn back towards Allah, turn back towards Allah. They will say how, what to do. Because the youngster will say, what does that mean? What does that mean? So, generally speaking, you find different ayats of the Quran. They say, if you're looking after yourself and you're trying to fix yourself in a certain way, then what happens is that when you're trying to look after and fixing yourself, try to go and so there was one very famous scholar, he says that look, I wanted to fix the whole ummah, but I couldn't do it because I couldn't reach them. So I said, okay, let me try and only fix my country or my nation. He tried to do it, but he said, I can't do it, it's impossible for me to do it. So let me fix my whole tribe. He couldn't do it. He said, I tried it, but I couldn't do it, it's too hard for me. No, I couldn't even do that. I said, alright, let me fix my own neighborhood. He couldn't do it, there's too much people, how can I have the time to go around the whole neighborhood? So he goes that, I tried to fix my own family members. My brothers and sisters, because I couldn't do it, it's too hard. So I said, in the end, I said, let me just try and fix myself. So I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even do that. Generally how it should work is you should look after yourself, then your family, then your neighborhood, then your tribe, and the ummah. And then that's where you find unity inside of the ummah. This is where you find Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam starting from one person, to 2, to 5, to 10, to 313, to 1,000, to 10,000, to 124,000 at the end of his life. He started from one and then he went on. Rather than saying, I've got 1 billion, how do I turn all of them together? That's the hard part. So always focus on yourself. We say we work locally, but we think globally. We work locally, so we think globally. So how do we work locally? Is you focus on yourself, and there's many things you can do that, and that is your normal basics, add on to your basics, and then add more onto your basics. If your foundation is strong, you can add more and more and more on. And that will have an effect on your family. If your family is good, then your neighborhood will be good. Neighborhood is good, then you have your tribe being good and so forth.
The question would be like, how can we think about a leadership in our community basically? What I see is like, I don't see many people coming forward and taking advantage of being Muslim basically. So how can we fix this leadership among us?
Good, very good question. One is you have people around them. So Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, he had many shuyukh around him. He had many shuyukh around him. He had the likes of Nuruddin Zangi. Even if you look at Muhammad al-Fatih, the conqueror of Istanbul, he had many shuyukh around him, ulama around him, people who are very good in their field around him. We find any person that becomes a leader has to be nurtured into a leader. They cannot become a leader, sometimes they become a leader out of defense, out of necessity. They become a leader, they have to stand up. The Ghazda is a very perfect example. You find leaders standing up and defending their communities. They have to because out of necessity. But how do you have to look at certain leadership qualities, or you build leadership qualities. For example, myself, let me look at myself. I was not a born leader. I wasn't. But I was around those people. I basically stayed around those people that were older than me, that were leaders in itself, and that rubbed off onto me. Then I was put into positions which were there, and I had to learn, swim in the deep end. So you have to look at qualities, but you surround them with good people. You go and stay in their suhbah. Sahaba had the suhbah of Rasulullah, they became leaders. Because they learned from a leader.
Jazakumullah khairan. Jazak to Molana Asjad sir. We thank him immensely. How much did that take him in the last hour? So just one little message inshallah for myself. It'll be the last message from tonight. You've heard my voice from 6:30 till now. It might be a bit annoying, but please forgive me. I've tried my best inshallah to entertain you guys. But one message, brothers and sisters, is that never ever leave the masjid. The connection with the masjid. You know, mashallah, we've had opportunity to come together for programs like this. But let this not be the last time that we're in the masjid. You know, an individual, subhanallah, when they have this connection with the masjid, you will see that within their life, they have barakah. You see some changes in your own life. So sometimes it becomes hard when you're in the college, university, school, work environment. What we try to do, one salah, one or two salahs, but make it consistent that every single day you'll be able to come, inshallah. Inshallah, so whether it's this Fajr Salah, whether it's Isha, Fajr initially is the best. Because before you start your day within the masjid, and you gain from the boys, inshallah, last 2-3 minutes. Last 2 minutes. Okay. So we try to make sure we have a connection with the masjid, Fajr like I mentioned, or Isha Salah, and never ever let go of your Salah. Whether you're in school, university, college, make sure you pray over you, inshallah. We thank you all, you youngsters, inshallah, for coming. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept you guys. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you guys leaders for your community. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. I'm just going to pass on to Tahir, the trustee, and we thank the Masjid committee as well for allowing us to host this program and for allowing us to stay up in the Masjid to this khayr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward the Masjid and the committee. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Inshallah, just give a quick message and then we have that final dua, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm glad you're all still awake. It's past midnight. I know it's bedtime for most of you, especially youngsters. But what a pleasure being here rather than being at home looking at crap or indulging in other things. You know, it really is a blessing. And I really had almost tears in my eyes when I saw the midnight there and we were sitting here. How blessed are we? How blessed are we? You know, it comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He wanted us to be here today. He wanted all of us to be here today. And the reward is immense. I don't know where your parents are, some of you youngsters. I don't know how you're going to go home. I mean, I've got a safeguarding issue here now. Because each one of you will have to be escorted back home safely. You all got your parents somewhere? You all know how to get home? Say yes, otherwise I'm worried. Yeah, that's all right then. That's all right then anyway. You all enjoyed yourself? Yes, you're going to be here for the third youth conference next year, inshallah. Yes, and even in greater numbers. And what are you going to do now when you go home or when you see your friends? You're going to tell them where you were. And you tell them how much you benefited from all the talks. Some of the brothers have come from very far. Of course, this brother's only come from down the road. But he's a regular here. You know, you enjoy the talks were specifically designed for the parents, but more so for the children. And you all took the message away. I don't want to talk too much because 6 hours of sitting here and listening is enough. I know you can smell the pizza upstairs. I know it's just been delivered. It's very hot and it's lovely. But you are the blessed ones. You are the lucky ones. You know, I could say a lot more, but I'll let Imam Saab do the dua. And brother, you raised the question about leadership as well. I can just address that. Some of us need to retire. Some of us need to move on to other things as well. We always say, whenever we get an opportunity to have elections or we want people to join the executive committee, even as volunteers, we always say, please, if you're professionals, if you want to embrace our role within the masjid, come and see us. There are avenues and pathways we can develop for you and train you and coach you. I mean, I didn't become a trustee from day one. I was a volunteer when I came here 27 years ago. I used to go around the south collecting money in a bucket. And I didn't want to be involved with the management. I didn't want to do any of that. I was quite happy doing the mundane thing. But eventually Allah opens up pathways. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who opens up pathways and drives you and takes you where you are to serve the community. So, you know, have an open mind. So there are pathways open to youngsters as well. We encourage all of them. This young boy became a hafiz in 3 years. Started at the age of 5. And by the age of 8, he's reciting in front of everyone. Even I couldn't do that. So bless you and your parents as well. And I wrote specifically about you to my family as an example of how a child should be brought up. Feel blessed. And make dua for me and the masjid and everybody and all the Muslims around the world as well. Yeah, inshallah.
دعاء إن شاء الله. استيقاظ بدعاء نبدأ إن شاء الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبر وقنا عذاب الحشر وقنا عذاب الدين وادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. اللهم ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا اللهم ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. اللهم حاسبنا حسابا يسيرا. اللهم أعني على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. اللهم ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا شر ما قضيت فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك إنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت تباركت ربنا وتعاليت. نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. اللهم أيد الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين في كل مكان.
اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. يا الله يا حي يا قيوم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام برحمتك نستغيث. Ya Allah, accept whoever we have listened to today, Ya Allah, for those people that have attended, Ya Allah, bless them, Ya Allah, guide us, Ya Allah, guide us to the right path and stick us onto the right path. Ya Allah, forgive all of our sins, our minor sins, our major sins, Ya Allah, our public sins, our hidden sins, Ya Allah, for those ones we have done in the past, for those we are going to do in the future, Ya Allah, forgive us. Ya Allah, guide us, Ya Allah, protect us from all of the evils. Ya Allah, protect us from all of the different fitnas outside. Ya Allah, protect our family, protect our children, protect our ummah, protect our institutions, Ya Allah, Islamic institutions, protect our masajid, protect everything to do with Islam, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, except for whatever we are doing, except for the khidmat of deen, accept us for the khidmat of deen, except for our youngsters for the khidmat of deen, accept us in every single quality that you have given us, Ya Allah, make it for the khidmat of deen. Ya Allah, whatever we are doing, Ya Allah, whatever is happening today, especially this youth gathering, Ya Allah, accept it. Ya Allah, put barakah inside, Ya Allah, put blessing inside. Whatever we have done, Ya Allah, forgive us. Make this a means of forgiveness. Ya Allah, with so much sin going on outside, Ya Allah, make it such that now we are being blessed, we are being protected for the whole next year, for the whole rest of our lives, Ya Allah. Accept us, guide us, protect us, and forgive us. اللهم إني أسألك من خير ما سألك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأعوذ بك من شر المستعاذ منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأنت المستعان وعليك البلاء ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Inshallah, brothers can go upstairs, inshallah, people will arrive. Don't run, please do not run. Go slowly. And if you're in the 16s and your parent or guardian isn't here to pick you up, please see one of the management, including myself. Please see one of the management. Please do not leave by yourself, you're in the 16. Jazakallah.